let's talk about our fluffiest, sexiest, hairiest motherfucking monsters out there, right? Let's talk about our hairy men and women. Let's talk about our lycanopathy. Let's talk about our alpha males. Let's talk about our gender stereotypes. Let's talk about transformation. Let's talk about why this specific brand and very peculiar brand of fear and freedom persists today. Starting off strong with the poem, The Epic of Gilgamesh, all right? So this guy, okay, this guy, he's a king. He's kind of an asshole, kind of a douchebag. I'm not gonna go into the whole poem because there's a lot of kind of just weird shit in it. I'm gonna focus on specifically the werewolf attributes to it. So we're gonna talk about Gilgamesh's friend, whose name was... what was his name? What was his name? It started with an E. Okay. Oh, it's like Deku? We're gonna call him Deku. Alright. So Deku, right? This is Gilgamesh's soon-to-be friend. But Gilgamesh, as this evil little narcissistic little king guy who is very in his dictator era, he's calling up the gods. He's like, yo, I need a challenge. I need to show these people that I'm alpha, right? And so he talks to the gods and they're like, okay. And they send down Deku, okay? Someone's gonna get so mad at me for not saying his name right, but I don't give a fuck. Sends this guy down, and he's like this wild, beastly, hairy man, and like, apparently, when they become friends, this hair kind of just like dies, and it breaks Gilgamesh's heart. So that's like our first comparison to werewolf that we have today, because this guy was supposed to be like the most wild, beastly man that you can find out there, because the gods made him that way. And then the other one is, so there was this goddess, right? She was like, to Gilgamesh, she was like, come get in my bed. And he was like, no, bitch, you're a man-eater. You're literally gonna eat my ass. And so he said no to her, right? But there was this young shepherd, okay, who had fallen in love with this goddess, and he was giving her devotions, like anything she wanted. He was like, I want you. And she was like, yo. Like, he gave her the ick or something. And so she turned him into a wolf, and his dogs ate him alive. His hounds ate him alive, okay? So that's our other rendition of werewolf in this story. More likely than not, the second one is more where we get the modern werewolf. However, we do see in at least our pop culture that sexy wild man archetype too fucking much, okay? So let's move on to some more fun history. We're going to hit on specifically the medieval wolf trials and the Greek lichen, just because that word comes up more. But shout out to the French beast of a word I can't say, the Saga of Volsons, and then the Werewolves of Ossory, and some other ones, but those are, I think, the most popular. Okay, short and simple, because we're not going to get into all of the history behind the Greek myth of werewolves called the Lycans. Lycon was a king, and he was this king of Arcadia, right? He he tried to test Zeus's divinity. He thought this guy was just like a normal guy. It was like, there's no way you're a god. Like, I'm literally a king. Like, I'm gonna prove it. And he served him human flesh. Very Hannibal Lecter. He's like, here you go. I promise this is animal meat. Like, this is normal food. And it turned out to be human flesh. If I'm remembering this right, it's one of his kids. But I'm not gonna check. I don't want to check. Don't fact check me. I'd rather not know. And Zeus was like, ew, dude, what the fuck? Why would you give me human meat? And he turned Lycan into a wolf. Okay? Marking him as the first werewolf in Greek mythology, but not the first werewolf ever. You know, because we just went over the Epic of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia. That's basically it there. That's the summary of it without going into the nitty-gritty, dirty details. So that's the second history fact we're gonna bring up. All right, the third one we're gonna bring up. I don't know why I lagged out like that. The third one we're gonna bring up is the medieval wolf motherfucking trials. Much like the witch trials and the vampire trials, we had werewolf trials. Particularly in Europe, because Europeans are fucking crazy. Between the 15th and 18th centuries, lots of accusations of werewolfery, and lots that kind of intertwined with the witch trials because that was going on at the same time. Usually, however, if you are accused of being a werewolf, you are a male, and if you were accused of being a witch, you are a woman. However, a lot of males got accused of being witches, and some females got accused of being werewolves, right? But of course, you have to be linked to pacts with the devil and demonic influence. And yeah, those bitches died. That's all I got to say about it. Like, you think there were only witch trials? No, there was more. People are fucking crazy under the church's influence, okay? Shout out to the new pope. Anyways, so, you know, becoming a beast isn't just scary, however, although it specifically was this fear of the beast within in our history, we have more than one history, obviously. And it wasn't just scary, it was also curiously entertaining. And that's where we come up into our circus freaks, our hairy people, our hyperchinoscus? How the fuck do you say that?
Hyperhidrosis.
I was so very off. Our hyperhidrosis. They're coming for me for the werewolf trials. Anyways, so we're gonna talk about specifically Jojo the dog-faced boy and Julia Pastrina, and that's who we're gonna hit on the most. Obviously there is more. I'm not trying to keep anybody out. This is just who I want to focus on, and it's my video, so suck my dick. So the quick summary is, which you can find this quick summary on the Google like AI overview or whatever. Miss Julia, was a 19th century Mexican woman with I just looked up how to say it. How the fuck? She had the disease where you grow too much hair. Or not disease, condition for excessive hair growth, right? And because of this, she became a traveling circus attraction. Yummy. She was born in 1834 and died in 1860. Her body was exhibited in many freak shows across Europe and the United States, even after her death. I want you to sit with that. Even after her death. So her story gained a lot of notoriety and sparked public fascination. Some people viewed her as a monster or the link between mankind or orangutan. That's uncomfortable. Her remains were eventually returned to Mexico and given a proper burial in 2013. 2013. Okay, this bitch died in 1860. What do you mean her remains weren't returned till 2013? Are you fucking crazy? That's crazy. That means her fucking body was paraded around all that time. That's a whole fucking century, dog. Like, disgusting. I hate human beings sometimes. Other times they're cool. But most of the time, like, they do shit like this. Like, what the fuck was the... Let Miss Julia be. She's not an orangutan. She's not a monster. She's got a little hair. She's like a Tolkien dwarf woman. If you've ever read The Hobbit or any of the Lord of the Rings books or any of his other lore books, you'll know that dwarven women have beards that they keep like meticulously like soft, and they braid it, and it's like so cool, so cool. And they put like little beads in it and shit. Like, I'm gonna do that, not to my beard hair because I don't have any, but to my normal hair that I dye funny colors. R.I.P. Miss Julia. I'm glad she was giving a proper burial. I'm very sad that she was paraded around after her death because she was a little hairy. Women, don't shave your coochie. Don't shave it. In honor of Julia, do not shave your pussy. Moving on. The Dog-Faced Boy was a Russian sideshow performer. Words are hard, okay? A Russian sideshow performer known for his excessive body hair, a condition that he's not the only one that has. He was famous performer with P.T. Barnum, which is what The Famous Showman is about, if you didn't know. So he toured Europe, the US. He was known to be gentle and intelligent and spoke multiple languages. And if you want to go even more in depth in the nitty-gritty details of his tragic backstory, be my guest. But it's not something I want to ruin my day on. We already talked about Julie, and that was enough. These are real people with real stories, and because of that, it irks me that human beings would do this to each other. Holy shit, this hair won't go away. I get distracted. So since that's where we're gonna leave off on our hairy human beings, we're gonna move on into the rise of the alpha male tropes. We're gonna talk about how the modern beast might not be sitting in a cage, being paraded around after their death. They're still selling us something. They're still selling us a performance. Not one that we necessarily want, but they're still selling it to us. All right, getting into our looks maxing Chad bitches, okay? Getting into our alpha male podcast assholes, right? So a lot of what they base their philosophy on are wolf pack science, kind of like, I don't even know, like testosterone science, like, anyways. So wolf packs are family groups, right? So they typically consist of a breeding pair, an alpha male and a female, their offspring, and then some other non-breeding adults to protect the children. And so, I guess that's how these males view how their traditional family lives should be, which more power to them. I'm not here to yuck your yum. But they take it to an extreme, kind of like Gilgamesh did with his narcissistic tendencies. So I have notes, which is, having notes about this is crazy. Like, studying this phenomenon is insane. I'm definitely gonna link some more videos, some YouTube videos that also deep dive into this alpha male podcast bullshit. Not just podcast, but alpha male aesthetic. Some podcasts for you to listen to, ones that are alpha male and then ones that are not, ones that study it. And then also like some circus. Oh, I'm at 10%. Some circus stuff. Some what's it called? Hypertrichosis. Anyways, they like to link all their behavior back to either traditional male societal culture, and how it's persisted throughout our history, or wolf pack science, testosterone science. Also, oddly enough, the carnivore diet, which, if you don't know what the carnivore diet is, it's where you only eat meat and animal products and nothing else. It's not very good for you if you have any sort of heart conditions, and it kind of makes your cholesterol go crazy. I don't recommend it. My dad tried it one time and he has a heart condition, so I don't recommend it. Don't recommend it. They also link excessive body hair to like natural masculinity as opposed to unnatural masculinity. And there's this return of like the lone wolf being like, I'm antisocial and I'm dark and evil and I only have my eyes on you. I'll only be nice to you. What's up, baby girl? Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we bringing this back? Nobody wants this back. Nobody wants this. Take it back. Take it back. Put it somewhere in like your vest. This is a fake pocket? Well, fuck me running. Put it in your vest pocket and walk away. Right, now I'm gonna, since I don't want to deep dive into this too much because I'll get too angry, let's move on to our favorite werewolves, okay? At least my favorite werewolves. I picked 3 movies to focus my werewolf studies on, but quick shout out to Teen Wolf, Ginger Snaps, American Wolf in London, Wolfman, True Blood, The Originals, Van Helsing, Beauty and the Beast, and Petty Dreadful, and some other werewolf movies and TV shows and books and whatever that I did not get to. I have asthma, so I didn't get that all in one go, but I think I did pretty good. Okay, Jacob Black from Twilight, right? This werewolf specifically is supposed to be like this teen heartthrob, okay? He's supposed to make us go, oh my god, he's so cool. Like, he's a lone wolf. Like, okay, so he starts out as this teen heartthrob and then transitions into this sexy, shirtless alpha male wolf, right? And basically his whole his whole transformation is just puberty, right? Like, we're seeing this, right? His transformation is just puberty. As it also is for werewolves in, like, Vampire Diaries. Actually, no, I take that back. I think you have to be of age and kill someone. If I remember. It's been a while since I watched Vampire Diaries, okay? It's not one of the ones I picked. The lore. The wolfy lore. So he's just a literal manifestation of a puberty metaphor into transforming from a young boy into a man, which is fine. It works out kind of perfect. Like, he's kind of annoying. He's kind of annoying. But in contrast to, like, Lycans of the Underworld series, I don't know if y'all have seen that. If you haven't, you should go watch it. It's one of my favorite series, and my bi awakening. Latex leather suits. Emo women doing martial arts. Yes, yes. Moving on. The Lycans of the Underworld series are seen as like a lesser than species. They're used as slaves and servants and constantly put down and trying to be eradicated by these like elitist vampires. Usually the vampires are all white, and the vampires are like the bourgeoisie. They're like the government, and they're trying to just kill all the werewolves all the time for no reason. Or they're trying to make them slaves. It's like one or the other. Once they didn't need them as slaves anymore and the werewolves started to revolt, they cut them bitches off. They're shooting them. Okay? Trying to kill them. They're lesser than, they're literally slaves for like a good period of the movies. Like, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Because they're like this hairy, like beastly, like can't control themselves type of species, the werewolves or the vampire sees them as like, ew. Like, what do you mean you can't control your powers? And then last but not least, I chose Harry motherfucking Potter, Professor Lupin, to be our last werewolf of our pop culture part. So Professor Lupin is kind of like shown as the stigma of werewolfism, werewolfishness, werewolfism. He's kind of used as a metaphor for disease and queerness and like social marginalization a lot. Every time he goes to transform, he's like, no! He like tries to suppress it, and he's like, no, don't look at me, I'll hurt you. And I'm gonna give a quick shout out to the Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs fans when I said queerness. It absolutely is a metaphor for social marginalization and queerness. Like, there's no way. Like, I know J.K. Rowling is like phobic or whatever. She's like that flag with the black and white stripes or whatever. But hear me out. Subconsciously, I think she was like, yeah, this guy's gay. Subconsciously. Okay. Now I could go into the very long-lasting fashion effects of having werewolves in our pop culture. Like, it's fucking everywhere. Fucking everywhere, bitch. We got fucking, like, fur and leather and claw jewelry. Like, anything that you can imagine that would be a werewolf visual, it gets borrowed and put into fashion, right? Like, you see a lot of androgyny versus like hyper masculinity when it comes to these specific fashion trends, like with fur, leather, claws, like sharp things as well, which also goes into vampire stuff, but that's not this video, you know. We could talk about wolf cuts, we could talk about furries, we could talk about butt plugs with tails coming out of them, okay? But I don't want to get into that. That's not my business. I'm here as an introduction into werewolf-ishness for you, and nothing else. Okay? I do not want to talk about the butt plugs with the tails. Which, not to yuck your yum. Not to yuck your yum. If you like that, more power to you. Just don't do it in public, please. I've seen one too many butt plug tails in public. You know, keep it in the bedroom. You don't see me walking around with. I'm not gonna say that. Anyways, let me ask you, and end your suffering, okay? Let me end your suffering. Are you choosing to reclaim your inner beast, or are you still scared of it? Thank you for watching this introduction into werewolves and the alpha aesthetic. This is the fucking intellectual predator signing the fuck out.